don't suppose you've seen one. And the little bumblebee, thought about it for a second and buzzed around and said, you know, I think I have seen some pretty big acorns. A little bit further north, there's a big orange acorn tree. And at the very top of that acorn tree, I'm pretty sure there's a gigantic acorn. But it might be guarded by a sparrow. And so the little squirrel was like, oh, thank you so much. I'll go there. The bumblebee said, no worries, and buzzed off. And so the little squirrel climbed down the tree and started walking north again. And after not too long, the little squirrel appeared in front of a big orange acorn tree and thought, this is gotta be the one. And so the squirrel started climbing up the tree. Scrabble, 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 scrabble. That was the sound of him climbing up the acorn tree until he got to the very top. They got to the very top there. I looked around, and just as the bumblebee had said, there was a humongous acorn right at the top, in the very center. It was almost glowing. And the squirrel started, sneaking over to it, because there might be a sparrow around. And as the squirrel got really close, he heard whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And right there was a sparrow flying around. And the sparrow said, what is your business here? And the squirrel looked at the sparrow and said, I was hoping to take this acorn home. And the sparrow said, ha 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 ha, that is my acorn, not yours. I love acorns more than any squirrel. And the squirrel said, but you don't even eat acorns. Why do you need the acorn? And the sparrow said, oh, it makes me feel big and strong, having such a humongous acorn that no other creature can have, for I am the biggest acorn collector around. And the squirrel pondered that for a second and then said, but I needed to impress my friends and my family and have a trophy. Why do you need it? And then the sparrow fluttered down slowly and landed on top of the acorn and said, why? I need it for the same reasons. I need to be liked and I need to be loved, and having a big acorn means that. And then in that moment, the squirrel realized that their quest to get the biggest acorn was actually pointless, because having a huge acorn and taking a huge acorn home wouldn't actually make you liked or loved or respected. Maybe it'd make you respected, but it wouldn't make you liked or loved. That would only come from being a good squirrel. And the squirrel kind of voiced that out loud. And then the sparrow almost lit up with glee and said, ah, you have passed. You may have the acorn, for you understand now that it is not about the acorn, it is about you. But you're most welcome to have the acorn. And the squirrel looked at her and thought about it for a second and then said, no thank you. You have the acorn. I'd like to not take it from this tree since it's so best because they were all good. And nobody liked the little squirrel any less for not